Sometimes, the hardest part of loss isn't the silence that follows. It's when the silence suddenly breaks, and what you hear feels impossible. In today's story, we'll journey into the life of a mother who lost her daughter in 2011, and 14 years later, received a phone call from her child's old number. If you're new here, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, so you don't miss any of our upcoming deep dives into real-life mysteries and chilling disappearances. This story is inspired by true events, and while some names and places have been changed for privacy, every emotion you'll feel here is real. Now, let's begin. The story begins in Maple Hollow, Vermont, a place that looked more like a painting than a town. Wooden fences, quiet lakes, old bookstores, and neighbors who still waved when they passed each other. It was the kind of town where people believed bad things didn't happen. For Margaret, Maggie Rowe, it was home. She'd been a widow for almost 6 years. Her husband, Daniel, died in a road accident while driving home during a snowstorm in 2005. Since then, Maggie's entire world had centered around one thing: her only daughter, Emily Rowe. Emily was 16 in 2011, the kind of girl people remembered easily. Long brown hair she always tied back with the same blue ribbon. Smart, witty, a little shy, but endlessly curious about everything. Her teachers said she had a writer's mind. Her notebooks were full of unfinished stories, sketches of faraway places, and lists of things she wanted to do before she turned 18. For Maggie, Emily wasn't just her daughter. She was her reason to keep breathing. That summer, Maple Hollow buzzed with small-town life. The county fair, the school picnic, the river cleanup that everyone volunteered for but secretly dreaded. Emily had just finished her junior year and started working part-time at Hartley's Diner, the only restaurant open past 9. She loved it, not because of the pay, but because of the stories people told. Truckers passing through. Locals who'd lived there forever. Teenagers planning their escapes from the small-town bubble. It was during one of those late-night shifts that she met Ryan, a boy a few years older who claimed he'd recently moved from upstate New York. He was charming, in that reckless way young people often fall for. Maggie met him once, briefly, when he dropped Emily off one evening. Something in his eyes unsettled her. He smiled too easily, laughed too loud, and there was something about his questions. Does Emily ever go hiking alone? Where's your house again? That didn't sit right. Maggie brushed it off as overprotectiveness. After all, every mother worries. But that feeling, that quiet tug of unease, would come back to haunt her. It was August 6, 2011. A Saturday. Emily told her mom she was going to spend the afternoon at the Maple Creek Trail with a few friends. They planned to take photos, maybe write in their journals, and come home before dark. Maggie remembered that morning vividly. Emily was wearing that blue ribbon again. "Don't worry, Mom," she'd said, laughing as she slung her backpack over her shoulder. "I'll be back before dinner." Those were the last words Maggie ever heard from her daughter. When night fell and Emily didn't return, Maggie called her friends. None of them had seen her since noon. By 10 p.m., she called the sheriff's office. By dawn, a full search party had been organized. Dogs, drones, volunteers, they scoured the Maple Creek Trail, the woods, the nearby quarry. 4 days, nothing. No footprints, no torn clothing, no phone, no sign of a struggle. It was as if Emily had simply vanished. Ryan was questioned. He told police they'd argued earlier that week about her always disappearing into her writing. He said he hadn't seen her that day. No evidence tied him to the case, so they let him go. Weeks turned into months. Posters faded in the rain. And Maggie's world collapsed into a hollow routine, one where she still cooked breakfast for two, still listened for the sound of Emily's footsteps upstairs, still kept the porch light on every night. 2012, 2014, 2017. Each year, the case grew colder. Detectives transferred. Volunteers stopped calling. Even Emily's friends graduated, left town, started new lives. But Maggie stayed. She couldn't leave the house. She couldn't move on. She worked part-time at the library and spent her nights writing letters to Emily. Letters she never sent, but couldn't stop writing. Dear Em, it snowed again today. You always loved the snow. Do you remember the time you tried to build a snowcat instead of a snowman? Dear Em, I saw your favorite movie playing downtown. I wanted to buy 2 tickets, just in case. Her world had shrunk to the size of her grief. And then, in October 2025, 14 years after the day Emily vanished, the impossible happened. It was a cold night. Rain tapping softly against the kitchen window. Maggie had been reading through old newspaper clippings about her daughter's case, a ritual she'd never been able to break. Her phone, resting on the table, began to ring. The screen lit up, and for a second, she thought her eyes were playing tricks on her. Because the name that appeared wasn't a scam number or a blocked ID. It was Emily Rowe. Her daughter's name. Her daughter's number. The same number that had been disconnected in 2011. Maggie froze. The ringtone echoed through the small kitchen. Her heartbeat drowned everything else out. She didn't pick up at first. She couldn't move. It was as if the air itself had thickened. Then, trembling, she pressed the green button. Hello. Static. A faint hum. Then, a voice. It was soft, distant, but it sounded like her. Mom. Maggie's body went cold. Emily, she whispered. Emily, is that you? The line crackled again. A faint sob. Then a whisper, just 3 words. Don't trust them. And then the call disconnected. Maggie sat frozen long after the line went dead. Her trembling hand still clutched the phone. The name Emily Rowe was still glowing faintly on the screen. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't some random number. That was her daughter's contact. Her daughter's number, the one disconnected over a decade ago. She immediately tried calling it back. The line didn't ring. It went straight to a recording. We're sorry. The number you have dialed is no longer in service. Her breath caught in her chest. Within hours, Maggie was at the local sheriff's office, a place she hadn't stepped into in years. Deputy Cole Simmons, one of the younger officers who'd grown up hearing about Emily's case, was the first to meet her. She showed him the call log. 10:42 p.m., incoming call, Emily Rowe. Cole frowned. Are you sure this wasn't spoofed? People can fake caller IDs now. Maggie shook her head. It wasn't just a number. I heard her voice. He leaned back, hesitating. 14 years is a long time, ma'am. If someone's playing a prank, we'll find out. But Maggie's tone cut through him. That wasn't a prank, she said. Don't trust them. Who was she talking about? The room fell silent. 2 days later, the Maple Hollow police officially reopened Emily Rowe's case. Cole and Detective Marissa Green, one of the few who'd worked the original file, started retracing every step. Old evidence boxes were pulled from storage, Emily's photos, her journals, a pair of earrings found near the trail, and Ryan's old witness statement. Ryan had since moved out of state. He'd never been charged with anything, but his name appeared repeatedly in the early reports, and Maggie never forgot that uneasy feeling she'd had about him. When Cole reached out, Ryan's number was disconnected. But his social media, untouched for years, showed something odd, a post from August 6, 2011, the day Emily vanished. A blurry photo of the Maple Creek Trail, with the caption, "She said she wasn't afraid anymore." No one had ever noticed it before. Meanwhile, strange things began happening around Maggie's home. One morning, she found a white envelope taped to her front door. Inside was an old photo, Emily, age 12, sitting on their porch steps. On the back was written, "You stopped looking in the wrong place." No fingerprints. No postmark. A few nights later, she woke up to the sound of someone walking across her porch. When she checked, the motion light was on, but no one was there. Only the faint smell of smoke, like burnt pine wood. Cole advised her to stay with relatives, but Maggie refused. "If Emily's out there, she'll come home. She needs to know where to find me." That night, she sat by the window, watching the dark street, her phone clutched in her hand. And at exactly 10:42 p.m., the same time as before, the phone rang again. Same name. Same number. Maggie's heart raced as she answered. "Emily." This time, the line was clearer. Breathing. A faint rustle, like someone walking through grass. Then the voice, fragile, whispering, frightened. "Mom, I didn't run away." Maggie's breath caught. "Emily, where are you? Tell me where you are." But before she could get a reply, there was a muffled sound, like the phone being covered by someone's hand. Then a man's voice, distant and harsh. "Hang up now." The call ended. Cole immediately traced the signal. It was routed through an inactive relay tower near Fenton Woods, 5 miles north of the old Maple Creek Trail, an area closed off since a wildfire in 2015. He and Maggie went together the next morning. The forest was eerily quiet. No birds, just the sound of their footsteps crunching over burnt leaves. After half an hour of hiking, they found it, an old cabin, half collapsed, hidden behind overgrown trees. Inside, dust and cobwebs coated everything. But in the corner, under a broken window, lay a rusted flip phone. The same model Emily had in 2011. Cole bagged it for evidence. "We'll run it through the lab. Maybe someone used it to fake the call." But when the techs examined it, they found something none of them could explain. The SIM card was damaged, unreadable, yet 2 recent calls were logged. Both outgoing. Both to Maggie's number. The FBI's cyber unit got involved. They confirmed something chilling. The number that called Maggie wasn't spoofed. It was Emily's original number, reactivated under a name that didn't exist. Meanwhile, new forensic scans of the old trail uncovered partial remains buried beneath a collapsed section of earth near the quarry, bones consistent with a teenage girl. Dental records were pending, but Maggie already knew. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just whispered, "I knew she'd never leave me." But when investigators checked the remains, they found something even stranger. The phone battery buried alongside the bones, corroded, but identical to the one in the cabin. The techs couldn't explain it. 2 identical phones. One still calling. One buried for over a decade. The investigation eventually uncovered a disturbing link. Ryan, the boy Emily had dated, had worked for a logging company that conducted off-grid operations near Fenton Woods. The owner, Douglas Hartley, was the same man who owned Hartley's Diner where Emily had worked. Phone records from 2011 revealed Ryan's final call wasn't to his parents or to friends, it was to Hartley. When police finally tracked Douglas down in 2025, he denied everything. Claimed Ryan left town after a fight. Claimed he never saw Emily after that summer. But when agents searched an old property deed registered under his name, they found something buried in the basement wall, a journal. It was Emily's. Pages stained, torn, but legible. The final entry read, "He said I could trust him. But I saw what he did. If I don't come back, tell Mom I tried." The night after the discovery, Maggie received one final call. 10:42 p.m. Same number. This time, she answered without hesitation. There was no static, no echo, just silence. Then, a whisper. "Mom, it's okay now." Tears filled Maggie's eyes. "Emily, please, don't go." "Where are you?" "Home," the voice said softly. "I'm home." The call ended. When police checked the call logs minutes later, they found no record of it. Not even on Maggie's phone. It was as if the call never existed. Emily's remains were confirmed weeks later. Douglas Hartley was arrested after DNA evidence from the journal and the cabin linked him to the scene. He confessed to covering up the death, claiming it was an accident, that Ryan had panicked, that they buried her near the quarry to avoid trouble. Ryan was later found living under an alias in Canada. He refused to speak to investigators. The case closed officially in 2026. But for Maggie, the story never truly ended. Every night, she still leaves the porch light on, the same way she did all those years ago. And sometimes, when the wind shifts and the rain hits the window just right, she swears she can hear her daughter's voice, soft, distant, and peaceful. "I'm home, Mom." Some mysteries don't end with answers. Some end with echoes, moments that remind us love doesn't vanish, even when people do. If you were moved by this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another real-life mystery. Thank you for watching, and remember, not every call is meant to be answered.